Okay. Okay, I will say we are continuing in the Sefer Hovot HaLevavot. And we're dealing with the topic of bitachon. And we've talked about many of the benefits of a person who has bitachon. And we're going to continue now in this topic and talk about some earthly, worldly, physical benefits a person gets when they have bitachon. So let's begin. Ach to'alet habitachon ba'olam. The benefits of bitachon in the worldly ways, in the material ways, in the physicality is mehen. These are some of them. Let's go. Number one. Menuhat halev min hada'agot ha'olamiot. Number one, he is calm from all the worldly matters, meaning he does not have anxiety, he does not have depression. Bitachon is the elixir of worry, right? You don't want to be worried, you have to have bitachon.
Robot.
No, not in robot.
No, okay.
But bitachon, a belief in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ve'hashalva menidnud hanefesh, and calmness from the disturbance of the mind. A person's mind plays a lot of tricks on them. I don't know if you ever paid attention. Sometimes the mind, for example, that gets you very worried, doesn't let you sleep, doesn't let you do that.
Yeah.
And then the next day, you're not even thinking about it anymore. You were thinking about it the whole night, you couldn't sleep. And then the next day, you're not even thinking about it anymore, right? The mind plays a lot of tricks on you. And a person has bitachon, his mind is calm. And he is he's not distressed by being deprived of physical pleasures. Right? There are some people, they hear everybody's going away for winter vacation, and he's not going away, so they feel bad. Oh, I didn't go anyway. I didn't. Right? The kids feel that way. They're little, but they don't have maturity yet. They don't understand what bitachon is. But an adult is supposed to say, okay, Hashem thinks that for me not to go on vacation is a good thing. Save my money, save my nerves, save myself, save my mind. I don't have to go away and spend the money. He's not upset when he doesn't have worldly pleasures. A lot of people, especially when they're immature of mind, their whole life is about the pleasures of the world. A good steak, a good massage, a good time, a good experience, good entertainment, right? And if he doesn't have it, he feels very bad about it. And this causes people a lot of worry, and it causes people a lot of depressions. We think about it. We just read Parashat Bereshit, where Cain and Hevel, right? They want to both bring korbanot, and Cain sees his not being accepted, and what does he do? He's all worried, he's all upset, and he kills the other guy because he was depressed from the fact that his korbanot wasn't being accepted.
That was the same plan.
All right? No. Don't blame it on God. Okay. Don't blame it on God. Person has free will. Okay. Continues the Hovot HaLevavot. Vehu bahashket ubebitcha ubishalva ba'olam hazeh. A person that has bitachon, he lives quietly, he lives confidently, he's calm in this world. Right? Kemo shekatuv, Baruch HaGever yishiftach ba'Hashem v'haya Hashem yiftacho. He's not asking questions. Why don't I have Why don't I have a Tesla? All right, or why don't I own a summer home? All right, I know, all our problems. Right, but he doesn't ask.
This guy have a Tesla, have a regular car.
He doesn't ask these questions. Why? Because he believes entirely in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he knows that what he has is the best. Okay, we're up over here, V'amar.
This is what I play a game with my wife. Sometimes we walk outside. I say, "Oh, look at this beautiful, huge house. Stop! Do this. You cannot do this." So I'm not gonna skip all night. That's it. Stop! I'm gonna skip what you're up. I'm gonna.
You know the famous Bukharian joke, right? So this guy's walking in Regal Park with his wife, and he's looking around. He says, "Everybody here has Section 8. Everyone has Section 8 apartments, and look, they make everything so fancy." And he stops at one apartment. He looks inside the window. He says, "Look at this guy. Look at the fancy chandeliers he has. Look what he did over here, and this and that and that. And he's doing all this fancy, and he's on Section 8." And his wife whispers in his ear, "Stop talking. That's your apartment." Okay, so continues the Hovot HaLevavot, and he says, "Va'amar," and there is another pasuk. The pasuk, the next pasuk in that Tehillim, in Yirmiyah. Okay, what does it say? It says as follows: "V'haya ka'etz shatul al mayim." He will be like a tree planted by the waters. Va'al yuval yishalach shorashav, which spreads its roots along a stream. What does this mean? You see, a lot of times, if someone was a tree, imagine you were a tree.
Yeah.
Right? You would imagine, oh, is there enough rain? Is there enough water coming in? If there's this, is there that? I have enough shade where my fruit grows and stuff like this. But a person who is like a tree that's planted by the waters, meaning he is depending entirely on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's not depending on anyone else. He's depending entirely on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's like a tree who's planted by the water. There's always water there. And just as the tree pays no attention to the heat, to the droughts, he doesn't care what other trees are thinking about him. He has bitachon, and he's no concern, not about the economic conditions, nothing else. This person is like a tree planted by the waters. A person trusting in Hashem will stand more firmly in this world. He's not perplexed. He's not vexed. What's going to be? What's going to be? He has a source of water all the time. Who's his source of water? Kadosh Baruch Hu. V'haya ka'ed shatul hamayim. Va'al yuval yishalach shorashav. Now, continues Hovot HaLevavot. Here's another benefit of bitachon. Umihen. And amongst the benefits is menuhat hanefesh meleched b'drachim archokim. Calmness from the mind to go out on distant journeys. Traveling, whether you like it or not, some people like to travel, right? Like to go on trips and stuff like that. Regardless, travel puts a toll on the body. As he writes, Asher hi mechala gufot, which wear out the body, umamaheret shlamat yemei haim, and hasten the end of life. Yep. Traveling, okay, let's do it. You're going from here to Israel, okay? Let's say you're going from here to Israel. All of us should be in Israel. All right, you go on the plane, you get there. Now, what happens when you get there? You're already older guy like me. You're getting older. What happens when you get there?
You got what you want, and then you.
I got there. Now, how do I feel? Good. I'm happy that I'm there, but most times you're jet lag. You're tired from the flight. It takes you maybe a week, so maybe less for the younger people to figure out the time. Right, your body is up. It's late. We're 2 o'clock in the morning. We're trying to fall asleep. I can't fall asleep because I'm used to. But plus more than that. Okay, let's talk about the plane. You're on the plane and you're recycling the same air over and over again. The guy behind you is coughing. What do you think's gonna happen to you when you get off the plane? You're gonna start coughing too. The guy's germs is all over the place. Here is even better. When you go on the plane or you go to somewhere else, what happens? You go from here to anywhere else, right? So here we have our germs, our bacteria, our virus. You go somewhere else, guess what? They have different bacteria, different virus that your body's not even ready for. Most times when you travel, you'll get sick. Don't blame the pool, okay? You're going to get sick because you're around people that you're not familiar with. And they have viruses and stuff that you're not familiar with. So traveling, that was part of the reason Abraham Avinu had to get a special beracha from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that even though he's going to be traveling, he's going to be fine. He's going to be okay. Because traveling literally puts a toll on a person. It strains the person. And now, imagine those people who have to travel for work. They have to go to China, right? And they go to China and they stay there for a week, 2 weeks. And what are you going to eat there? And all the Chinese people are walking around with masks. Yeah. And a person is there amongst all these different type of people. what's going to happen? Yeah, we're up to right.
This is not good experience what you talk.
No, I'm not.
A good travel, not a bad travel.
The good travel is the mind. I'm going to be there. I'm going to have a good time and stuff like that. I'll tell you, most of the times that I've traveled, someone got sick on the trip, either on the plane or once they were there, and then they needed a doctor, they needed an eye drop, they needed this, they needed that. Yeah, amongst other people, amongst other things, you're going to get sick. This is just the nature of travel. Travel puts a toll. You have to travel to Brooklyn every day. How do you feel after the day? Tired. There you go. It takes from a person's life. Traveling takes from a person's life.
That means whoever don't travel, he's happiest.
He's healthier, 100%. That's why he says.
My wife, the opposite. We never went to the vacation. This is you. I'm talking about the vacation.
So obviously there is benefits from a vacation. We're not saying that's not, but there's still traveling is still a toll on the body, regardless how it is. Maybe sometimes you're willing to pay the price for the toll of the body, right? Like you pay the toll of the bridge, you pay the toll of the body for the good time. But again, in the end of the day, traveling is an issue. Therefore, a person who has bitachon, he doesn't have to travel so much, right?
Here, Hashem will give you.
As it says, Ina vaderech kochi, he afflicted my strength on the road. Kitzar yamai, he shortened my days. Okay, Tehillim. It says a person who travels has shorter days. His life is reduced. The more you travel, the less you live. Listen to this story.
According to anything, you shouldn't travel.
Yes. Yeah.
But travel.
He doesn't like business people.
Exactly. Let's take a look at this Mashal he's going to bring now. Listen to the story. He's going to bring you a story. Everybody loves a story. And the story is told. Al ehad min ha-perushim. About one of the perushim, the pious people. The HaLevavot in another place talks about the perushim. These are people who stay away from things. All right, they're less involved in materialism. So, ki halach el eretz rechoka levakesh hateref. So he's starting off as being a pirush, someone who's staying away from materialism, and he's going away to a faraway place. He's going to China, all right, for business. Betchilat perishoto, in the beginning of him becoming a pirush. Okay. Ufaga adam echad me'ovdei kochavim ba'ir asher halach aleya. So now he's in Hong Kong. And he meets one of the Buddhists. Okay, one of the guys who worship Buddha. Okay. So he sees these Buddhists, and he tells them, "Amar lo haparush, kama atem batachit ha'ivaron." How blind you people are. Umi'ut ha'havana b'vodetchem lekochavim. That you're serving idols, which is nothing but a piece of wood and stone. It's a little fat statue, and you're bowing down to him and you're serving him. What a waste of time.
Why you open your mind? We go to the business. Do your business. Why are you talking to them?
He's a perush. He's someone who is closer to Hashem. So he wants to help this guy out. So Amar Allah, Ha'am Goshi, this Avodah Zarah guy tells him, all right, Umata Oved, and who do you serve? Who's your God? Right? Amar Leha Parush. So this pious Jew tells him, Ani Oved Habore Hayachol. I serve the Almighty, all-powerful God. Hamchalkel ha'echad, who sustains all. Hamatrif, who feeds. Asher en kamohu. There's no one like him. The Kadosh Baruch Hu takes care of everyone. I'm serving the true, almighty, powerful God. So says, Amar lo ha'am goshi. So this Avodah Zarah guy tells him, Po'alcha soter et divarecha. What you're doing is going against what you're saying. Well, how do you see that? How am I going against what I'm saying? So Amar lo. So the Baal tells him, if what you said was true, if you're saying he can feed you anywhere and he's this greatest feeder, that he can feed you in your hometown, in your city.
Why come here?
Just as he's giving you here in this China, right? Why are you leaving New York to come to China? You could have gotten in China, in New York. You would never have to come here. If you believe that your God is almighty, all powerful, and you're telling me that, then why are you here? You should be back home. Now, listen to what he says. So the argument of the pious Jew is cut short. And he goes back. And he took upon himself pirishut, and he never went to travel. And he never left the city. He took Musar from the God. Okay. Rav Chaskel Levenstein, he would say over here that a lot of people, they can talk and sing all about Emunah, all about Bitachon, all about all great things, but it's never inside. It's all from the lips forward. They really mean it. They're not bad people. It's just a lot of times things that you say, it stays in the said, but didn't actually enter. It's like somebody once came to me and told me, Rabbi, remember what you said about this and this and that? I was like, I said that? He says, yeah. He takes out the YouTube, he puts my video that I said this chidush once. I don't remember saying it. And he was saying it based on this and that. I once listened to a shir from Rav David Sutton. And Rav David Sutton says in the shir, he says, he was talking about this topic. And he says, yeah, my mother-in-law tells me a lot of times I should listen to my own tapes. Because he's talking, and then he himself, he says, I'm not doing what I'm saying. A lot of times it's always lips and forward, and frontwards, but not internal. So it doesn't make a difference. It says, sometimes it takes someone else to tell it to you.
Yes, that's true.
For you to really understand it. Even though you're talking about HaBitachon and you know it all and everything like that, you have to get it sometimes from somewhere else for it to come really into you. He writes over here that it's easy to fool ourselves when it comes to Bitachon.
100%.
Bitachon, I have Bitachon Hashem. I trust on Hashem. It's the easiest thing to fool a person in. He himself can fool himself in that I believe that there's Hashem. Because once, like you said earlier, once something comes, maybe I have to do more ishtaldus, maybe, and he doesn't. And then he's not fully b'bitachon. Okay? It's easy to talk, but it's much harder to walk the walk. All right? And that's what's coming out over here. The Bet HaLevi, he would say on this topic, he says, the fact is we're saying it 3 times a day, this idea, and we never listen to it. He says, where do we say it? We say in the Shemona Esrei. What do we say in the Shemona Esrei? We say, Mechaker Hayim Bechesed. He's giving food to everyone, Bechesed. Mechayim Etim Berachamim. Somech Lovinim, Rofei Cholim, Uatir Asurim, Ukayim Bemot Oshav. He does everything. We say it, we move on, and then we go. And again, we're not sure. We have to do. And we're saying, playing lip service, but it never enters us. Right? We're davening, so to speak, just rushing through things. You have to really pay attention to what we're saying. That's what the Bet HaLevi says over here. In addition, recently, I think it was just yesterday or the day before, there was a very tragic incident near Lakewood. You heard about it?
I heard about. Yeah, I thought so.
4 yeshiva bachrim. They got into they were driving normally, but someone apparently was driving not normally, was drunk or something like that, and went from I just read briefly the news, and he went into their lane on a highway or something like that and hit them, and all 4 were nifter. So people are gonna say this. I don't know about the other guy. I don't know. I didn't read that far. So everyone's gonna say this, that. What's the reason why they got? When was it decreed? Rosh Hashanah, right? We had also a very tragic incident. Now it's not to say you don't take lessons from what happened, and you should be careful and you should wear a helmet. Today, Dr. Lightman put out a public service announcement. You know, everyone knows Dr. Lightman. He's a pediatric doctor. Right. So he put out a public service announcement. Basically, he says he was somewhere in 5 towns and he saw 2 boys riding on a scooter and without a helmet and stuff like that. And some car hit them and they fell down and they just got back up and they left and they didn't check themselves out and stuff like that. And he says, you know, you should wear helmets and you should put this and you should check them out and stuff like that. Basically, he was just making awareness to that. But they got hit. I don't know how hard. It must not. Right, with the scooter. 16-year-old kid was Motzei Simchat Torah or something like that, right?
Yeah.
He went on a scooter and in the Main Street area, and a minivan, I think, hit him. A Jewish woman was driving it, and now he's in a coma, in a nude coma. What? He hit the video. Oh my! I didn't see the video. Right. So there's two. No, they say he's. They say he's very, very, and he broke a lot of parts. It's Badalov's son, so is very close friends with this guy. He was there apparently when that happened. Yosef Badalov, his son, I think Binyamin is very close to this guy. So what I'm trying to say is there's two takeaways from there. There is a takeaway of the lessons: don't drive a scooter without a helmet, make sure you know what you're doing, don't do stuff when you're out of mind, don't do dangerous things. That's all emet and true, and you person needs to take that out of that. But at the same time, that's not the reason why they passed away, or the reason why they're sick, or they're this and that. Kadosh Baruch Hu decreed that, and that's a bitachon topic, right? There's bitachon, what you do with your lev, how you understand it, and then there is another part where you have to learn lessons and take precautions in. We're not saying not to do that. But
that's it's both.
We're using them interchangeably, but yes, it is correct. So what's the difference? Give us the short version.
This is what I heard from my Rebbe. He said, we're not believing that that everything that happens in the world is from Hashem, and Tachon is applying it. Like
correct.
Applying it.
So emunah is more like the theoretical understanding of it, and bitachon is the application of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So both of them are true, and when we are saying it at this point, when we're not differentiating between them, we will use them interchangeably. Emunah bitachon. So you have to believe that, you have to know that, you have to apply that, but at the same time, you have to learn lessons as well from it. Okay. Let's continue a little more. The Midrash Rabbah, by the way, also brings down over here the similar story when it comes to the Parsha of Tazria Mitzrayim. You had there about Sarat, right? So there was this Kohen that always checked to people who came, if it was Sarat, if it was a nega, it wasn't a nega. And one time he was having a problem financially. So he told his wife, listen, I have to go away, and I'm going to show you how to check, right? So he told his wife, you should know every hair has its own follicle. Every hair has its own source, shortish, that comes out of the body. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes it every hair has its own place. And it gets its nutrients and grows. Right? And his wife says, if that's true for every hair, isn't that also true for every person? And HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives him his financials and everything he needs for everybody, wherever they are. Yeah, the Midrash brings this down. The Midrash brings this down. The Midrash brings this story. And he said, I'm going to go out to make money. And here, you learn how to check for tzarat, check for nega tzarat. And she says, if you're telling me each hair has its own follicle that feeds it, what, Hashem doesn't able to feed you from here also? And he says, you're right. And he stood home, right? She was a smart wife. You got to keep him back, not to fly to China. Okay. But Lamar said, this is the idea over here, is that when a person has true bitachon, he realizes that Kadosh Baruch Hu can give him his parnasah where he is. And he doesn't need to travel to China to do that. Now, there is, right now we're talking about traveling. Now, there is a Gemara in Bava Metzia. There's a Gemara in Bava Metzia. The Gemara says that if a person has something going badly for him, right, in his town, and he doesn't move to a different place, and he doesn't go somewhere else, he has only himself to blame for his poverty. So the Gemara seems to be implying that it's good to go somewhere else. That's what the Gemara says. So the Rashba, he addresses this, and he says sometimes as a gezerah, because the person sins, he cannot make money. Now, a way to a form of punishment is galut, is to leave your hometown, right? When you leave your hometown, you go into galut. We're in galut anyway, but if you leave your own place, is considered another galut. And you should know that a lot of great tzaddikim of Europe used to do what they call parver galus. They used to put themselves in galut, so to speak, become wanderers. and people wouldn't know them where they are, and they would be treated like dirt. Right? This is before the internet, so their pictures weren't everywhere. There were no Gedolim pictures everywhere, so no one knew who they were, and they used to do this. It was a form of tikkun that they used to put into place. So when a person goes out from his place, it is a form of atonement, and therefore now he can start making money. That's what the Rashba says. It brings atonement for him, and the Gizerah is then rescinded. Also, we know such a concept: Mishaneh makom, shaneh mazal. You change your place, you change your mazal. That's also a very true thing. But that's all true, and that's very true. But at the same time, over here, so how do we explain it? So some want to explain. So some want to explain as follows. Some want to say that a lot of the things that Hovot HaLevavot says, and especially also this part, is talking about when a person reaches that level of bitachon, of applying the emunah, very practical to everything. But most people are midway. They're there, and they have to do some hishtadlut, and they might have to travel somewhat. So going from Rockaway to Brooklyn, let's say, is a normal form of hishtadlut, and it's not considered excessive traveling, right? Or maybe a person has to go to China. Maybe he could go to China, but maybe he doesn't have to stay there 2 weeks in a row. Maybe he could take care of it in 1 or 2 days, and go every 6 months to a year or whatever it is. And he's not there so long. We're spending so much time there and stuff like that. That's the way a lot of the Mifarshim, a lot of the explanations based on this Gemara versus what it's saying here in the HaLevavot, try to give an explanation over here. In fact, the Tur and the Ramah both say that, and they bring in the Rabbeinu Tam, that traveling for business to make money for a family is considered a mitzvah. So you cannot say
it's a mitzvah, but then you said you shouldn't do it.
Right. So that's exactly what we're trying to explain. Is that there is sort of like a level here, right? Where you got the highest bitachon, you should not be going anywhere. You have the average, normal, expected bitachon, then you can do a little travel, and that will be considered a mitzvah, right? Making money is a mitzvah. I know a lot of yeshivot. They if you go into the business world, you might be considered not such a good guy. But making money is a mitzvah. So
support family,
supporting family, supporting Yahadut, supporting the ability to do mitzvah, to doing everything that a person needs. Now, obviously, everybody has different places to do that. If a person can get a job in chinuch or in good, atmospheres where it's the sviva is kosher and it's a Haredi place and stuff like that, then that's where he should go first. That should be his first choice, right? And then as things go, he has to look what's happening. All right, but that's just the idea of this. Okay, next benefit of bitachon. Umehen says, we're going back into the Hovot HaLevavot. Umehen, and among the benefits, menuchat nefesh v'haguf min hama'asim hakashim. The peace of mind and body from having to engage in difficult kinds of work. Including those forms of work that wear out the body. The guy thinks, I got to do it all. It's up to me. I have to do it. It's my hishtadlut that I have to. So he thinks because I have to make money, he'll take any job. He'll take any crazy job. Anything at all. Even if it's dangerous, even if it's in the Bronx, even if it's somewhere where it's very not good for him, right? Because I got to get money. I got to do my thing. Where's his bitachon? That Kadosh Baruch Hu can help him out. So this guy, he's going to end up in the wrong places. Va'azov avodat melachim. If a person has bitachon, he doesn't have to work for the kings. One of the most dangerous places to work is in politics. Okay, working with kings, working with governors, working with presidents, working with these type of people. It's the most dangerous of places. It's cutthroat. It is terrible.
Even now,
yes.
Kushner.
What are they not powerful in? What?
Kushner.
If a politician wanted to mess up your life, he can mess up your life immediately. They can plant things on you, find things on you. They can call the government agencies to look at you. Most people, if you get the magnifying glass of the government on you, they can find something. Okay, so I'll tell you. So part of my job, right? Part of my job is sometimes disciplining people, and sometimes you can't discipline them in what they actually did, like for the fact that you got you angry, or got you upset about that. But what you can do now is sit and review all their work, all right? And you can find like millions of things to get them on. All right, that's the way it works. So most people, you want to be part of the Hamonam, nation. Don't look at me. Don't put a magnifying glass on me. That's what you want to daven to feel a bit tzibur. You want everything just to go fly up. You don't want it to be scrutinized, right? And that's one of the things that politicians can do. They can start putting the government agencies on you, looking for you, looking at things, right? That's just one idea. They can do terrible things for somebody. And but sometimes you have to work with them, right? And stuff like that. But he says that someone believes in Hashem, he won't get involved in politics and working with politics. And he'll be able to avoid participating in their celebrations with Chukayim, the Chamos Ansheim, and he'll be able to avoid the violence of their people, right? V'habotech ba'Hashem, hu tovea misibot haterif. He will seek sources of livelihood. He's going to look for those type of jobs where it's going to be calmer for him. Right? One of the things that you should select when taking a job is that he's going to have a nuhat hanefesh. Who would you really? Some people, I met young people like this. They tell me, "Oh, if I take that job, it's going to be boring." I say, "You're making good money, and you have an easy time, and you'll be able to have time for your family. And while you're at work, and if it's calm and this and that, you can do other things. You can learn. You can do other stuff like that." And he says, "Nah, I want a job where I'm going to be busy all the time." I guess so, and I understand that HaLevavot also says. I hear Pirkei Avot also says that if you work and you learn, you're not gonna have time for anything. So if you're busy on both sides, you don't want to be bored. But the HaLevavot is saying that you don't have to take that stock that stock exchange floor job where you're running and this and that, and it's insane, right? You'll be able to take a job in Nuhat HaNefesh that's calm because you have Bitachon Hashem is going to take care of you. V'shem Tov Lo, and he can take a job that'll give him a good name. He doesn't have to run with the politicians. He doesn't have to run with with all those people who are trying to rip everybody off, and with investments and brokerages and this and that, or other stuff of not to speak against any jobs, but sometimes certain unscrupulous people who do cash advance and stuff like that in not appropriate ways that can get people into big troubles. There's a lot of issues there. But I'm saying sometimes you can force a person into a loan and this and that. Who wants such a job? It gives them a bad name. He's doing all sorts of things that are wrong. You want a job? Take a calm, easy job. And calm, easy job. Working for the MTA.
Or working in Nigeria,
It's not easy job.
Now, we're saying relatively easy until another job that he could have taken that would have been more crazy and maybe more money, but he took an easier job that he gives more time for his family. Okay, that's just talking overall right now. Outside of bitachon for a second, a person should really take a job and not think just all about the money. Money is an important thing. No one's saying it's not. But in the end of the day, you have a family, you have Torah, you have other obligations. It cannot be all about the job, because when a person is on his deathbed, his job is not going to follow him, okay? And no one from his work is going to really show up. The only people are going to come is his family. And if he didn't invest in the family, they ain't going to show up either.
Exactly.
Okay?
So
and he's going to die with nobody.
They're going to say, "Oh, you didn't feed me, you didn't buy me this, you didn't buy that. Why should I come to your funeral?" Now you have to work.
Family want the person to be a family man, to be there for them. Therefore, the HaLevavot says a person who has bitachon knows he doesn't have to go wild for a job. Takes a job that's calm, gives him time to learn, gives him a good name. Ufanai lelibo, and he'll have more leisure for his mind. And guess what? For these things will help him carry out his Torah obligations. If he's got a job where he's got to be up early in the morning every morning, when is he going to put on tefillin normally? When is he going to pray normally? He's running in, he's running out, he's learning a Mishnah on the go, he's learning this on the go, he's not sitting down, he's not putting his mind to it. He's not doing, what is he doing? Lulav, etrog, jumping in, jumping out, he's got to run Chol HaMoed, he's got to run here, he's got to run there. He's never stopping. Right? Person, im yeter emunato, with the rest of his devotion of emunah to Hashem. What's the reason? Ki hasiba lo tosif lo bechuko. Because the truth is, your sources of income are not going to add anything what's been decreed for you. On Rosh Hashanah, it was already said how much money you're going to make. So, and it won't detract anything from it. Nothing will change for him unless Hashem decrees it. As it says, it does not come from the sunrise nor from the sunset in the west, and not from the wilderness of mountains. It doesn't come from there, going this way, going that way, going up here, going down there. Ki Elohim shofet, ze yashpil v'ze yarim. Hashem decides as a judge who goes up, who goes down. Rav Yaakov Galinsky brings a story about this boy in the yeshiva. Everyone was worried how he was going to make money when he grows up. The guy couldn't do anything right. Everything was messed up. One day, they find out that this boy won the lottery. So this boy, everything is the biggest lamazel. Couldn't walk down the block the right way. Couldn't do anything the right, nothing. He won the lottery. So they asked him, "How'd you win the lottery? Like, what did you do?" He said, "I had a dream, and in my dream they showed me a bunch of numbers, like 6 different numbers, and the lottery." Like 6 of them, like a 33, 100, and this, and like a bunch of numbers. And he said the lottery only has 3 digits on it. So I realized it was from Hashem, a dream, and I calculated it all, and I put it into the lottery, what I calculated, and I won. So one of the guys in the shoe said, "Tell me the numbers." So he tells him the numbers, and he says, "What number? What did you get?" He said, "I got 415." So that was the number I got. He said, "Based on the numbers you got, it's 405. You're off by 10." So he said, "Baruch Hashem, I don't know how to count, because if I would have known how to count, I never would have gotten the lottery." Who decides? Ze yashpil v'ze yarim. Ki Elohim shofet. Hashem decides who's going to get. Dafka, he was not able to count, so he can win the lottery. Because if he was able to count, he wouldn't win the lottery. All right? Rav Sternbach, Eretz Yisrael, used to be a Rebbe in a yeshiva in England. And then he went to South Africa, and then he ended up in Eretz Yisrael, part of the Eidah HaCharedas of Yerushalayim. So Rav Sternbach says that when he was in the yeshiva in England, they were running out of funds. So the Rosh Yeshiva sent him to go collect funds for the yeshiva. So Rav Sternbach says he rented a car. He didn't have a car, so he rented a car, a little expense there. And he went around collecting. He says the first house he hits, the first house he knocks on the door, they tell him, "Don't ask for money, go to work instead. All right? Stop asking for the money for the yeshiva. Go to work." He says, "Okay, first door." He goes to the second door, he knocks again. They tell him, "Oh, really, we would love to give you money, but we just gave, and we don't really have anything." "No, we already gave. We already gave it. We already gave you. I already gave." Okay. He goes to the third door. He doesn't even knock the door. It says on the door, a big sign, "No dogs, no collectors." Okay. He turns around. He goes to the fourth door, and again, he doesn't get any money. He gives up. He goes back to the yeshiva, and he doesn't have the heart to tell the Rosh Yeshiva that he was unsuccessful. And it was morning Seder, okay, during the first Seder, and all of a sudden, Rosh Yeshiva is calling Rav Sternbach into the office. So Rav Sternbach comes, and he's like coming up with excuses. "Listen, I don't know, this and that." And the Yeshiva tells him, "Shkayach, what you did brought in so much money." He says, what do you mean? I didn't get any money. He says, "I knocked on the door, no one gave." He says, "I know nobody gave you, but this morning somebody showed up from nowhere, and he came and they gave a huge donation to the yeshiva." Who do you think did it?
No dog.
Who do you think did it? He says, "Our job is to do the hishtadlut. Where the result comes from is something else. What we do doesn't make a result. Okay? It all is like HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You did your job. You did your job. You knocked on 4 doors. Nobody gave you. And now Hashem said, that's how you have to look at what happens. Right? That's what the Misai Sharim says. Sharim says, you should always know that your effort has nothing to do with the result. It also is HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Can I share the story also?
Yeah, sure.
The Misai Sharim, before you say the story, you have a good story? Okay, let me just finish this. Misai Sharim says that what you do doesn't make the result, but you have to make a place for the bracha to be chal. You have to make a place for the bracha to come to. That's your job. Go ahead. What's your story?
A similar thing that the Yeshiva Bochum was tempted to England, and they get married. This guy gives every year. So he came, made a mistake. He said this door, he went to that door. And these were hippies, the smoking, come, enjoy it.
Okay.
So he comes in and smoke, drink, whatever. And then they give him a pile of money to go. He give him a bag of money. He said, who is that?
That's right. You just do your job, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends the rest. There's a Midrash Rabbah says that there was once this woman who asked one of the great rabbis, what has HaKadosh Baruch Hu been doing since he finished creating the world? Right? You just learned about the 6 days of creation. What is HaKadosh Baruch Hu doing since then? Right? It's making zivugim. So one of the lashonot of the Midrash I have says that he's making sulaim. He's making ladders. What does this mean, ladders? That some people go up and some people go down.
Some people go out.
Up and some people go down. The Midrash says, Yaakov Avinu, right, when he has the ladders, Melachim going up and down, Midrash says, Yaakov was asking Hashem, why, when Yitzchak, my father, was getting married, the girl was brought to him, and he had so much money and everything? And why, when now I have to get married, I have to go to the girl, and I have no money at all? Why, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you make like this?
Right.
So they explain, you know why? HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'll tell you why. Because you have to marry 4 women, and to come to you, only 1 woman is going to come. So you have to go, and you have to work, and you have to do everything. So I had to make you go down so you could get married to the right people. Yeah, you had to go down so I can make you married to the right people. The word oni, a poor person or someone who's poor, ayin vav nun yud, the word sulam, samech vav lamid mem, and the word mamon, mem vav nun, are all equal b'gematria. Sulam, oni, mamon. Person has to go up and down in shidduchim. Why is a family like this? Why is a family like that? Why does it go up? Why does it go down? Listen to the story that happened recently, about 40 years ago, with the Ger Rebbe. There was this chassid that came to the Ger Rebbe and said, Rebbe, I want to become rich. I need money. The Rebbe didn't give him a bracha. No. This guy kept coming, this and that. Fine, the Rebbe said, fine, I'll give you a bracha. Gave him bracha and he became rich. He became rich, filthy rich, and then just a few days after he made his money, and it's like a few months after, his son, 18 years old, gets into a huge accident and becomes very limp, and he has difficulty walking. Now it comes time for shidduchim. So they're looking, he's a lame boy. He's rich, but he's lame. So no other rich family really wants to take a lame boy. So they found the tailor. It was a middle-class person, has a very nice daughter, and she's happy she can make some money through the shidduch, and they're happy that they have a shidduch for him. So they made the shidduch.
American shidduch.
He comes to this Rebbe and he tells the Rebbe about the shidduch. And the Rebbe says, I want to tell you something. This shidduch was supposed to happen regardless. And if you never made the money, this would have been a normal shidduch, and your boy would have met her with a full leg and able to walk. But since you made the money, now you never would have looked at the tailor's daughter. But she was supposed to marry the tailor's daughter. So Hashem had to make him an accident, and make him limp and lame, so now he can still marry the tailor's daughter. You don't understand that Kadosh Baruch Hu's working up, down, why this, why that. The Sefer Hasidim, Rabbi Yehuda HaChassid asks, he says, sometimes you see that a Rasha, his daughters are marrying rabbis, great bachurim from yeshiva.
Happened a lot of times.
The says Yehuda Chassid, how is this happening? How is this happening that Rasha's daughters or family members are marrying great people, Hashuvah families? So says Rabbi Yehuda Chassid, one of the reasons is because this Rasha's grandmother, okay, used to daven that her children and grandchildren will all marry tzaddikim. So even though he's a Rasha with all these things that he's doing, the grandmother's tefillot are still playing out.
The grandmother was okay, normal.
The Rabbi Yehuda Chassid says another reason is because maybe somebody insulted him once and he kept quiet and he has this benefit on him, or eventually his money needs to go to the right places, so his daughters marry them and then their wealthy money goes out. The Chazon Ish was once asked. There was this guy. He had a daughter of marriageable age, and every time the shidduch would become to be mentioned, they would inquire about the girl and they would call the neighbors and stuff like that. By the way, you're supposed to do inquiries to an extent, okay? So they called the neighbors. Questions.
Neighbors.
It's not Ktoani. Takistimani. Tkudani. Ani Ivrei. Ani Nevrei. Ani Shtoani. Normalni ljudi. Okay. And so not not. Okay. He called the Chazon. She said, "Listen, I have a neighbor. Every time they call about my daughter, since he doesn't like our family, he always says bad things. How is my daughter ever going to get married?" Chazon Ish tells him, when the right shidduch is going to come, your neighbor's not going to answer the phone. He's going to miss the phone. You missed the phone call. And as I was, the shidduch came, and they called the neighbor. The neighbor wasn't around. They never called him back, and they called other people. Everyone said good, and the marriage happened. Okay? It all comes it's not really our effort. We have to do an effort.
The wrong people, they reach him. The neighbors. The wrong people. But right people, he didn't answer. So Hashem knows how to manipulate.
But mine, if he does,
What do you mean Hashem doesn't manipulate? Hashem runs the world. He runs whatever he wants. Not manipulating. He's the one running it.
If Shidduch fell apart,
100%. If a shidduch falls apart, a person has to say, Hashem saved me. Yeah. There was something that is not supposed to be, and you have to say thank you. People cry for no reasons. All right, people don't think. People cry. People do everything opposite. All right?
Don't worry about
it. Okay, fine. Let's learn a little more over here.
He thinks it was his fault. He said something like very dumb and very stupid.
I mean, there's okay, in all these type of things, there's extents to things. Meaning, if you really did something stupid and you realize that it was a mistake, you can say it was a mistake and see where it goes, right? But if sometimes Hashem makes you make a mistake, so it doesn't work out. Yeah, also, you have to do your normal status. Oh, I'm so sorry, I was out of it, and see where it happens with it.
Don't dwell on it.
Right?
So everything is so funny.
What do you mean? And everybody else, another example, like a job interview and stuff like that.
Is it always the person's fault, or is it God given that Hashem made you one?
So it's very hard to tell 100%. What you always have to do is normal hishtadlus. If that's part of the normal hishtadlus, to say, oh, I realized I messed up my interview, maybe I should call and say, hey, I may have messed up my interview. Maybe you give me another chance. I was under the weather, whatever it is. Maybe that's normal hishtadlus, right? I'll tell you. Here's an interesting story. I have a cousin who already graduated from medical school. He's now in his second year of residency. He's living in Lakewood. Him and his wife are both doctors. And how he became a doctor, he was applying for medical school, and he received a rejection notice. They said, we can't take you. It was about a week before school was going to start, and he decided, you know what, I'll give a call. he called Downstate Medical School, and he said, listen, I know you guys rejected me, but is it possible to relook at my application? He says, as he was on the phone, the person said, hold on. She goes through his application, and she says, you know what? We never rejected you because you were a bad candidate. We accepted other people. And turns out to be, I just got off the phone with someone who just withdrew from the program. So we actually have a slot open. Would you like to take the slots? And then mind you, his brother was already accepted at that program. Plus, he meets his future wife, who's also going to be in that program. So he ends up going to that program with his brother, meets his future wife there, and things worked out pretty well for him. So that is a degree of normal hishtadlus. The guy called and said he didn't come down with the gun and say, get me into the school. And he didn't call 1,000 times. And he didn't send 1,000 emails. And maybe if you would say that's normal hishtadlus, maybe that is. I don't know. But to an extent, always in normal hishtadlus, that's what's important. That's what a person is obligated to do. Past that is a whole different thing. Okay? Like someone, it's in the shul, so I don't want to say certain things, but when you have some not such good people, and you get into shidduch games, sometimes they give you crazy advices. They tell you, if you slip something into the girl's cup and you really like her and you want it to be, then she's going to marry you regardless. She won't have a chance. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, voodoo stuff. Voodoo stuff. That is definitely not hishtadlus. That's definitely not the effort a person's supposed to put in. All right, that is 100% wrong. Okay, there is a normal hishtadlus. All right, and if it doesn't work out, right, or if Pam has a whole thing, this and eternal melech, that a person has to say thank you. A person has to say, thank you, it didn't work out. Which is most interesting. Verizon brings down, because Pam says if it doesn't work out, you're supposed to say thank you. But Verizon brings down the Rosh Hashiva's Talmud, Rosh Hashiva currently, he says that Pam's shidduch itself almost fell apart, and he put it back together. So Verizon explains because there is a normal thing that you can do to try to put it back together. And then there's not normal. And the not normal you don't do, and you don't get involved. And the normal, I'm sorry, I missed the flowers. I didn't give you chocolate. I forgot to call you, something important, whatever it is.
My ego was telling you about he instead of flowers or candy, whatever, he brought some bananas. No, it's gonna happen if it's with bananas, it will happen. That's it.
Okay, so continues the Hovot HaLevavot and says, Va'amar, as it says, Adonai ro'i lo yachsar. Hashem is my shepherd, I should not lack. V'not tesher yarbitzeni, amem menuchoti nahaleni. He called me to lie down in the meadows of the grass. He leads me by the still waters. Hashem is a shepherd. Hashem knows how to take care of us. He'll take us where we need to go. That is the emunah bitachon we have to have. Knowing HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes us to the places that we need to be in. Here's another benefit of bitachon. Umehen, mi'ut tsa'ar nafsho b'mischaro im titakev etzlo o terakmatya. A reduction in the distress that a person feels if his merchandise doesn't sell, right? You buy merchandise or you rent merchandise and do what you do, and you put money and invest in it, and then you try to sell it, and nebuch, it doesn't sell. So the person who doesn't have bitachon, he gets all upset. He's all distressed. How could it be? Everything I did, all my work, all my effort, all my that. And he's all upset about that. Or im lo yuchal ligbot chovo. Guy owes money. Or someone owes him money, right? Someone owes him money. Someone has to pay him, and he's not getting it much. He doesn't know how I'm going to get the money back from this guy. Or im yifka'eu holi begufo. Another source of aggravation is if he encounters some illness in his body. Oy vey, now this hurts, now that hurts, now this happened, that happened. He's all upset now. He's all distressed. Now, if a person has bitachon, he's not distressed. Why? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is fixing him up. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is taking care of him. Sometimes you need something to happen to you. You don't know why certain things are happening, right? Person, his back hurts. He can't get out of bed one day, and he doesn't go to work. And he doesn't realize that if he goes to work that day, they're going to fire him. He doesn't show up to work, and now they can't fire him. And the next day, the boss is not around to fire him, and he keeps his job forever. He doesn't understand why he had his back hurting, right? You have to realize that everything that happens is happening because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is making that happen. If a person, Hashem thinks he needs to make an operation, he'll make an operation. He'll make an operation on his character. He'll cause him an illness. He'll cause him whatever it needs to be. Hashem knows better than he knows what he needs for himself. As it says, Ach leElohim domi nafshi ki mimenu tikvati. Let my soul hope and be silent to Hashem, because my hope comes from him. Meaning, I hope on Hashem and not on what I do, not on my work, not on my effort. My hope is where? My hope is in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All right? Don't trust yourself. As Shlomo Melech says in Mishlei, trust in Hashem. Don't trust in your understanding. Don't think you understand anything. There's no way for us to understand anything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does. Sometimes a person can think, I'm going to go to medical school, I'll become a doctor, I'm going to do all these things, and this and that and that and that. And then he becomes a doctor and he has no clientele. No one's coming to him.
No.
It happens.
Doctor all has a client.
No, they don't. You'd be surprised. There are doctors that can't make people come to them. And they can't get out into the business. And they have to work with somebody else. And then while they're there, they get bad reviews. And then they throw him out. And he does this and he that. Just because you're a doctor doesn't mean you have money. Yeah, just because you are anything doesn't mean you have.
So they're not going medical school.
He keeps getting the wrong lessons.
In MTA, there's train affidavits. There's one of them lawyer, one of them educated, one of them.
They couldn't make it in their field. Yeah.
The people have 2, 3 bachelor's degrees or whatever, the PhD. They can.
They couldn't make it in their field. We'll end up with the last story, Rabotai. Last story that we have a week. The story is as follows: there was a man, and not such a religious man in Eretz Yisrael, and he decided that he was going to keep Shemitah. And all his friends made fun of him. Yeah, a farmer, this and that. And he left his land fallow. He didn't plant anything. And now he was living in one of these kibbutzim that the government's somewhat involved in what you plant and stuff like that. Now, after Shemitah, he's ready to plant. And the government says, listen, we already have everything we need planted. All we have left is celery. And celery is not a big commodity. It's not a big export item. But no, he planted the celery and he trusts in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's trying to sell it. No one wants to buy it. He has excess and excess. It was a bumper crop of celery. He has so much he doesn't know what to do with it. All of a sudden, he hears the news that in Europe, all their celery got ruined. The majority of the European celery is ruined. And the Europeans like celery in their soup. And they're searching for celery. They end up getting it and exporting it from Israel to Europe. And this guy made a gazillion bucks. Okay? He didn't trust in himself. He trusts in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because the person has to say, his trust is from Hashem. That's what a person has to do. And I don't know if you become religious afterwards. Maybe you became more religious. It's not religious. Yeah. So you know the story. And he came. See? Right.
No, but this is act of religion.
There's a person has bitachon on Hashem, whether he's religious or not, it already helps him. Yeah. Adonai havetz l'ma'an tzedko yagdil Torah v'yadir.